Dope. I think he's going to have a big year in 2013.
Def Jam.
Rebuilding. I like what they did this year. Frank Ocean, Nas, 2 Chainz.
Cash Out.
Trendy. I don't think he's gonna be around long.
Iggy Azalea.
Not a fan. I was, but I'm not now. No content.
Pusha T.
Dope. Lyrically, I think he needs to focus more on catching a single than beefing with Wayne and Baby.
Gucci Mane.
Controversial and unafraid. I think that's kind of like what his selling point was for 2012.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Dope. Energy. I think Puff has like a rare find him. I think he's like a 10 album artist.
The Breakfast Club.
I like The Breakfast Club. I think Charlamagne is the star. I like Angela Yee better when she was on Lip Service. I think she's a sidekick now. It kind of like almost like has nothing to add to the show.
Lyor Cohen.
A genius. I think that if he does what they're saying he's going to do with this management firm, Todd Moskowitz, Kevin Liles, Irv Gotti, he's going to fuck the industry up.
Nicki Minaj versus Hot 97.
I think it's warranted. I think that, you have to balance being an on-air personality versus, giving your opinions too much. I think Rosenberg kind of crossed the line, and I think Ebro is pushing the envelope trying to, like, sell his station as them against Cash Money.
DMX.
Crazy.
Ludacris.
Corny as shit.
Joe Budden.
Dope. I wasn't a fan of Joe Budden. I was at first, then I wasn't, and then kind of like went back and did some homework on like the music series. I'm a fan of Joe Budden now.
Andrew Bynum.
Asshole.
Rihanna 777 tour.
Not interested. What do you do, people? 2012 Winter Wars, we back. It's your boy CD. People Like Us Media, in conjunction with ScreamAtMe.com. My man JP, my man B Lee on the cam. Shout out to HRLifestyle.com. We here, we winding it down. We coming down to the last 2 topics. First one, I think the Grammys give this one out last. I'm gonna give it out second to last album of the year. I think that there's pretty much 2 front runners that everybody has for album of the year, being Nas, Life is Good, on his comeback trail, and then Kendrick, Good Kid, Mad City. But I have a sleeper pick, third one that I want to add in, which is Game's album, Jesus Peace. I think this album is just like beautifully constructed. There's a concept like Kendrick's album. There's a concept that flows throughout, while controversial and at times completely like disrespectful to every single religion there is and very blasphemous. I think that is kind of almost like a sign of the times and just, kind of, how people feel. And, you have these young, affluent, like black men, athletes, entertainers, rappers, and things like that who feel like, I love God, and they got crosses tattooed on them and this and that, and, they pray and all that, and they thank God when they do their press conferences. But they also go to strip clubs and they get ratchet and they fuck bitches they're not supposed to, and they cheat on their girlfriend. So there's kind of like this like dichotomy like between the two of being like, like a religious, God-fearing man, and then also, just kind of, being a born sinner, which we all are. And I think that Game kind of constructed it perfectly with no help from Dr. Dre, which is crazy. Him and Stat Quo constructed the album. Sap from Delaware, y'all might remember him from Meek in My Bag, produced the lead single. Celebration, he also did a couple of records that didn't make the album that were also crazy. And I just think to end the year off, Game put together a perfect project. He sold it right. And, it resulted in debuting high on the charts, number 5. So that was my sleeper pick for album of the year to go along with Esco and with Kendrick. Overall, I think it's just hard to ignore what Kendrick was able to establish with this Good Kid, Mad City album. You take an album that basically has like no singles, and from that, like the radio created like singles from it. Like, so you have like songs like Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, that is like a very like laid back, like not really like a radio feel record at all. And then you have like Philly radio picking it up, which is like notorious for playing a lot of bullshit and like kind of whatever goes on around the country. So for them to be playing like a really quality record like that after playing Swimming Pools, which is a record that deals with alcohol abuse and alcoholism and him growing up in a home where people drank and it led him to drinking, and that's the reason why he doesn't drink anymore. Like songs that really of substance have begun to dominate the radio all around Kendrick, because it's like you still hear these crazy, feeling good, flashy, ratchet records, and then you hear like Kendrick in between, and then it goes back to like the ratchet shit. So it's like he's like the moral break or like the substance break in popular radio right now, and it's not just in Philly, it's in Miami, it's in New York, it's in Cali, his home state, Chicago, everywhere are really like embracing his records and playing them. And for him to not have a huge single and still debut high on the charts like he did, almost 250,000 sold the first week is crazy. He got a gold certified album in 8 weeks, which basically guarantees that he's going to be going platinum. So it's like a situation like a Kanye West where you have fantastic content, you have great records, you may not necessarily have a dominating radio single, but people buy into the whole picture and the whole album, and he really like just put everything together wonderfully. There wasn't like a huge marketing campaign around it, but it still sold, still performed well, and even more importantly, it listened well and it has replay value. So we got to go with Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City, 2012 Win Awards, Album of the Year. We are at the grand finale, motherfuckers. Man of the Year. It's kind of, to me, almost like a slow year for hip hop. We didn't really get any like a lot of momentum or a lot of like dope projects kind of coming out towards like the end of the year, but towards the middle of the year rather. But once they did, it kind of like snowballed and everybody like pushed through from like the end of the second quarter through the holiday season. We got a lot of quality projects in that second half. As far as Man of the Year, I think there's a small list of candidates that actually fit the bill in terms of looking at, dominating radio, viral presence, album sales, chart presence, any type of extension of their brand, reaching out to some other artists, doing collaborations, things like that. And I think that these are the four that epitomize the Man of the Year title the best. Although going into this year, I actually thought that Kanye West would make the list, but he kind of took one off, kind of fell back. So these are the four guys that stepped up in his place and really kind of went crazy. You got 2 Chainz, you got Nas, Kendrick Lamar, and then you got Rick Ross. All of these guys did it with album sales, absolutely. Everybody on this list did a minimum, I believe, of like 130,000 their first week. Debut high on the charts, top 5. Nas' Life is Good, Rick Ross, God Forgives I Don't album, which actually got delayed, pushed back. And he gave us Rich Forever mixtape in its place to kick off the year. We had 2 Chainz album, debut high on the charts, a bunch of singles off of that album, kind of multi-platinum single and No Lie with Drake. You got Kendrick Lamar, obviously, with Good Kid, Mad City, with what he's been able to do and kind of changing like the soundscape of radio, not compromising his original sound, kind of like taking what he did on Section 80 and extending it and kind of like raising up another level. Working with his own in-house producers, some outside producers, but still keeping that Kendrick Lamar DTE sound that kind of his underground fans fell in love with. Looking at this category, I think that I gotta go with the boss, Ricky Ross. Had I done this award show last year, I would have gave it to Ross. He was basically everywhere, like just dominating presence-wise. I always say that Rick Ross has a unique kind of like, I can't call it a gift, but he has like a unique situation in what he has with Spiff TV and with Dre Films, to where you have like videographers on staff that travel with you, that are everywhere, and then even now picking up Shutter Films, and I believe they have another one, John Jay also, just kind of having that situation to be able to, wherever you are on the map, drop down, shoot a vlog, shoot an actual music video, have access to different locations, different cars, different this, different that, and always have a way to have yourself out there and be in touch with the fans. On top of that, he gave us a fantastic mixtape to begin the year off, and Rich Forever that kind of carried for a few months. That went away. They came back with Self-Made Volume 2, which honestly, if it wasn't for a compilation album, I would have had that in competition for Album of the Year. I think that was just a fantastic album, very well put together, features well placed, and that in itself was all Rick Ross' brainchild. He A&R'd that, he executive produced it. So when you talk about album sales, you have to add that into what he did from a solo perspective also. Did his first set of European tour dates this year, really dominating, and then to come back, debut #1 with his album, his highest record sales, first week ever, on his, what is this, his 5th or 6th album. It's just crazy, and it just seems like, you know, even when we kind of like think, it's kind of like a lull for him, he always just finds a way to just keep going. He has Meek, he has Wale about to come back out. Meek's album debut, high on the charts, did good numbers. And he's just really kind of like taking over and kind of taking the blueprint that Wayne and Baby set when they relaunched Cash Money and Young Money as an umbrella, and doing that with MMG. And I'm excited to see what he does in 2013, and if he's going to be able to repeat for a third time for MVP, Man of the Year. So we got to give the award to Ricky Ross, 2012 Win Awards, Man of the Year. Thank you to everybody involved in this project, my man JP, B. Lee. Check out ScreamAtMe.com, HRLifestyle.com, PeopleLikeUsMedia.com. Al One Thing coming in 2013.